Sapphire had finally managed to get Dakota on her feet. It had taken a while. In the end, repeating the threat of swimming lessons combined with promising to bring everyone to her bedroom had gotten the recovering Huntress on her feet. On the walk down the corridor, Sapphire could hear her straightening her back and fixing her posture. Sapphire didn't know if she was happy to see her put the effort in or sad to know she had to. Hopefully something would come along to take her mind off things. There were certainly plenty of candidates. When they made it down, everyone was already eating. She found Tom sitting next to Volson, clearly discussing something. She just hoped he wasn't doing something too stupid. As they sat and ate, Nanook threw a few knowing glances over at them. She had clearly found out what Tom had been up to as well, but didn't want to broach the subject. For now, she was just making small talk with Dakota. Apuma seemed to have a go at cheering her up as well. Tom was discussing various items and materials with Volson. He was very interested in blitz powder, it seemed. Volson had asked why, and Tom had simply responded he had never seen anything like that before. Sapphire knew perfectly well why the human wanted the stuff, but, well, he wasn't actually lying. Well, she didn't think he was, unless he had been lying about a great many things. As their little discussion had continued, Sapphire couldn't make up her mind whether Tom was lying or not. Something as simple as membrane leather being able to stretch a great deal seemed to astound Tom. How could his people have such incredible things and not know how to make proper leather? Was he playing dumb? When the subject had turned to magic items, Sapphire started to doubt him even more. He knew a lot about magic stuff for someone who claimed to know nothing. Then again, for everything he guessed right, there was a wrong too. The notion that you could have a rod just stick in place had caught her attention, even though the bag, which was bigger on the inside, seemed like a bit of a stretch. Have you ever seen an item like that? Sapphire joined in, curious to see how he would react. No, Tom had answered, sounding a little uncertain, looking at Sapphire with a head tilt. Just thought it'd be awesome. I'll grant you, I would pay a lot for a bag like that. I'm no master of the arcane, so I have no idea how that might be done. Volson added. How you make the magic things? Tom had questioned the trader. I don't really know that either, to be honest, but I believe you take either inherently magic materials or enchant an existing material, and then mold the inherent or trapped power within to suit your purpose. Your cape, for instance, I don't know the specifics, but I know they need lacewing thread to make it. What is lacewing? Tom had then asked predictably. Tom, do you know what a butterfly is? Sapphire tried. Yes, he answered. At least they had something that could fly back home. It's a special butterfly with colour-changing wings. It's very pretty, Sapphire clarified. Sounds pretty, Tom had echoed, seemingly in thought, probably trying to imagine what one might look like. But anyway, Ark told me you two had a talk, Volson interjected. I must say I'm impressed. He thinks this highly of you already. I mean, I know you put in quite the first impression, but still. Anyway, I think it is a splendid idea, though I'm fairly sure we will have to consult the Nook first. Besides, there are no guarantees the kid will go, of course. Sapphire looked at Tom. He just seemed perplexed to what Volson had said. Was Volson sending his kid here? She didn't even know he had any, and why her of all places? They couldn't teach a kid much here. And surely Volson could afford to send his children to a fine school in a big city somewhere. Is someone coming here? Tom had questioned. Well, yes. Didn't he tell you? Volson questioned. He just said I'd meet someone. Oh, in that case, Ark, old boy, get your head in here. Archon slung his head through the open door, looking down at the table.
What is it now? Have you made promises you can't keep, or have you made any on my behalf?
Well, no, of course not. I just thought you needed to be the one to tell everyone about that little plan of yours.
So, the latter then. I only said I would ask him, but fine.
The dragon turned his head towards the Nook, sitting in her high chair.
Lady Nanook, I would like to formally request permission that your keep become the first deployment for my oldest son, Jarix.
There was silence in the room for a moment. Sapphire just put the fork back down, looking around at the others, all either trying to be polite, frozen, or staring at Archon.
I have come to the conclusion that he is in need of some tempering, following the hardening he has received at the Academy. I believe your keep will be able to provide it.
Nanook stood up, looking bewildered. Even if Tom had made the unexpected a little more common around here, this was still a lot. I humbly accept, of course. That is a great honor, but shouldn't he be sent where he is needed?
I'm afraid that if that happens, he will just charge off and get himself killed the first chance he gets. I believe he needs to learn, as Tom so eloquently said it, what is worth fighting for, and you just so happen to have a Darkling problem. A fine excuse, in my eyes. Not to mention someone who might be interesting enough to keep my son around for long enough to take a liking to the place. At least I hope so.
The massive dragon now turned his head to Tom, along with much of the room. What? Was all Tom had gotten, looking somewhere between terrified and utterly confused. You think you can handle that, soldier? Volson added, with a jovial slap on the back. I warn you, he is as rambunctious as they come. Sapphire wasn't quite sure what to do with herself. A dragon stationed here at their keep? A dragon of the Royal Guard, no less. This was incredible. Sapphire had dreamed of joining the Royal Guard since she was a little girl. That was why she had gone to the capital way back when. She hadn't made the cut. She was just a huntress after all. She had come to the city alone, hoping talent would do. Without a war on, though, they hadn't needed a street girl from a backwater keep to fill the ranks. They had plenty of noble sons and daughters who came with both equipment and powerful connections to choose from. Esmeralda just let out a puff of air as if she was exhausted. Sapphire could feel that too. This was a bit much. We are going to be working overtime for the rest of the year, aren't we? Esmeralda then went. Sapphire hadn't thought of that part. Oh, this was gonna suck a lot too. Jackalope had just taken another drink of water, seemingly still a bit dehydrated from the evening before, even if her head appeared to have cleared up again. Can't he handle himself? If you can convince him, sure, Volson added merely. But he's a warrior, remember? He has spent the last decade training to fight and he is raring to go. So if you get him to hunt deer, I will be mightily impressed. You better get that wing fixed, Saf, Jackalope just continued, before going to get more water. Tom was looking around a bit worried, as if he had done something wrong. Oh right, the whole secret thing, that was going to be a problem. Sapphire just hoped Dakota wasn't going to take this too badly. Oh my god, what had he done? They would be sending a dragon from whatever the Royal Guard was. It sounded very important though. And Tom was supposed to teach him manners? What the fuck? What had he gotten himself into? He couldn't figure out if this was the best thing ever or the worst. It sure as fuck messed up with his plans though. He wondered if he was supposed to be like Volson. He and Archon seemed extremely close. That would be pretty sweet. A puma then spoke up. It is my understanding that a dragon of the Royal Guard sometimes comes with a contingent of warriors. Will that be the case? Archon answered.
That is only the truth for the older, larger members. Jarex is, as of yet, not capable of carrying more than a few people. In combat he is supposed to fly solo to better make use of his speed. I don't know if he will bring someone along. He is allowed to if he wants, I believe. But as I said, I will only be asking him to please do this and try to persuade him. I cannot force him, nor will I try to do so.
Perfectly understandable. Will we be accountable for the pay? I'm not familiar how deployment is handled if we aren't the ones requesting it.
He will be paid by the guard, but you will be expected to provide comfortable living conditions in exchange. This isn't a war zone after all. His equipment is also to be maintained, of course.
Well, at least Tom hadn't doomed them to financial ruin. He was guessing actually paying for the deployment of a dragon trained for war was not cheap. Tom wondered what sort of equipment a warrior dragon would have. Would he be armored? That certainly had the potential to mess with his plans for how to kill one, but he would have to see. When is coming? Tom asked tentatively.
I can't tell you for sure. I know his final exams are in a few weeks. I intend to witness them. After that, I don't know. The trip here is only a little under a week if you fly straight here.
Tom better get back to his studies then. He had a lot to learn and maybe not much time before he had something else to worry about. After the meal, Tom had gone dressed up in his armour, holstered his weapons, and made ready for another night on guard duty. He did want to have a talk with Nanook or someone about what was going on, and if they thought he was doing the right thing or if this was bad. For now, no, Nanook and Apuma were locked in conversation with Archon and Volson, and he had a job to do. At least the extra long nap meant he was more awake than usual. As he sat peering out into the darkness, he contemplated the day's events. Things were moving faster than he had planned right now, and he didn't feel in control at all. It was all very exciting, but something horrible was going to happen sooner rather than later. It always does. After a few hours, the Nook stuck her head up the trapdoor, looking around to check if they were alone. Satisfied that was the case, she got up and closed the hatch behind her. "Lady on deck," Tom let out, trying to perform their salute. "Very funny," the Nook responded. "If you are going to pull that stunt, at least stand at proper attention." "Not very good standing on toes, ma'am." "Yes, another shortcoming." "Hey, I'm trying." "Yes, I know. You've been trying very hard." Tom couldn't quite work out if the old lady was happy or not at that statement. "I'll grant you, I've never before been in this situation. You have been extraordinarily kind, entertaining, and even brave. One might even call you honourable if not for your general way of going about things." "I'll take that as a compliment." "Tom, I have no clue what is happening right now. I've reigned this keep since my mother died. That was over 50 years ago. Tom, I don't know if that is a long time where you are from, but it is here, and I have never had this many things to do. In the past 2 days, you managed to become the ace of your first proper battle, beat Shiva's decade-long streak in drinking, saved my daughter from certain death, stopped me from making a big mistake, blew the feet out under one of the most confident traders I know, secured the friendship of a venerable old dragon I have known for decades, while asking him how you were supposed to kill him. At the same time, you put my daughter's life in jeopardy, damn near killed yourself, stole my husband's sulfur supply while drunk, and used it to try and make a weapon capable of killing a dragon. I can't figure out what is going to happen next, Tom, and I don't like it." "Not much help, I don't either," Tom just asked, shrugging. It was quite the list, he admitted. "Well, first of all, we need to tell Volson and Archon the truth about you. I'm not playing games of deception with a member of the Royal Guard. Do you still want to try and keep a low profile?" "I think so. I try and convince them not to talk too much. We need to be ready before anyone comes looking." "Right then, I think you need to do that part. You managed to make friends with the old guy while measuring him up for a killing blow after all. Vols and Scar still aren't airworthy. Dash Shu is walking again, but it will be a while before Tyborg is ready to leave, so you have time. On that whole killing a dragon front, I must ask you, what exactly are you planning?" "Need to experiment. Kakashi found flash powder and Volson has blitz stuff. I tried to see what do. Also tried to make proper black powder, not the drunk failure. After that I don't know. Need more metal for both tools and good cannon. Much to do." "Sound like you plan on going through with your little project then. I was hoping on that. I think I need to show you something then." "But guard duty?" "I'll send someone up to replace you. Just come to my quarters when you are relieved." "Okay, can do." Tom wondered what she had in mind. Maybe the sword. It sounded important after all, so maybe?